So our final speaker this afternoon is Sten Andersen, Chief Marketing and PR Officer at ATG Sweden. ATG have used their advertising strategically to challenge customer preconceptions and position their brand as innovative, creative, fun and entertaining. So Sten will now introduce us to Vinnie, who is an advertising icon that has become a symbol of change for the organization. In taking a radically different approach to their advertising, Vinnie is now the physical embodiment of this new direction, enabling ATG to innovate with their marketing messages. So welcome to Sten.
Thank you. What an introduction. I think I need to have you with me every time I make a speech. Innovation, isn't that inspiring? It certainly is for all the people that work with it. But what about everybody else? What about our customers? What do we do with them in the meantime? ATG, for more or less 35 consecutive years, had a larger revenue, had a revenue growth each and every year. But then all of a sudden, it stopped. In 2012, we had a decline with 5%. 2013, we had a further decline. And we had a look at the situation around Europe and didn't find too much comfort there. So obviously, we needed to change something. We were starting to wonder, why are there 5 million people in Sweden placing bets, but only 2 million people placing bets with us? What are we doing that is wrong? Why are they not with us? Well, we made a lot of surveys in order to find out. And what we found was that it's boring, it's slow, it's for the elderly, thank you. It's difficult, it's unmodern, it's hard to understand. Actually, we found out that the very same things that we have built for the experienced and expert are exactly this, that they like exactly the same thing that build barriers for everybody else. So how could we go about that? Well, what we wanted were obviously new clients, some of those 3 million. And we had a look at who are they, and then we looked at what is it that we're offering today. I think you can agree with me, there's a bit of a gap between what you see on the right-hand side and what you see on the left-hand side. We call it a gap, or maybe it should be an abyss. So it was clear to us that the way we'd done business up until now would certainly not be enough for the future if we're going to grow again. What we needed was change. We needed innovation. We needed a new approach. And in fact, we needed a whole new vision and a new assignment. Before, our assignment was ATG shall ensure long-term development for horse racing and trotting by offering hardly a statement that rocks. What do you think? Now, to be Nordic, the largest and most profitable betting company in the Nordic region. That's worth going to work for every morning, believe me, and it's very measurable too. So how are we going to get there? How are we going to be perceived in order to actually reach that target? Well, we carried out lots of surveys and studies, and we decided that if we can become Sweden's most engaging betting experience and meeting place for betting, we would get there. Thereby, we knew how we wanted to be perceived, and from that also came what are the deliverables that we need to have. Always inclusive, which up until then was always exclusive, to be honest. Exciting, not just during, but also before and after. Made to share, I think we spoke a lot about that today, and we'll have some examples very soon, while at the same time being general and trustworthy. So we went on and we went looking for new target groups, had a new organization, new processes, new tools, new recruitments, new P&D plan, new sales approach, new IT methods, and we were all excited. Only problem was nobody else cared. Because what did they know about our charts and processes? So we needed to have an external sign of our change as well. Something that would make them believe in our future while we were innovating. To make things worse, we've been around for 40 years and practically nobody knew who was behind ATG. Practically nobody. Nobody knew that the money, if they didn't win the money, went to the horses, and even if they knew that they went to the sports and the horses, they didn't know what were horses good for anyway. So it was clear to us, in 40 years we've never told our story, and it's time. I think one of the tips we got from Peter earlier today was, tell a good story. So, what story are we going to tell, and who's going to tell it? Well, first of all, we think a good start would be inviting rather than hard selling. I'm not sure that we would get any new customers just through selling used cars in the way they did in the 70s. We needed to understand what it is that actually drives them, not just what they say makes them tick, but also what actually drives them. And we found an unapproached underlying field of dreams and vibrancy and being inclusive and so on that we think that we could build on. So what could we say with regards to that would excite new customers while capturing our existing customers, that expresses our manifest and our ambition, that sets the base for a drama, not just for information, that aligns people that are active in the sport, because they're very important to us, they're our ambassadors, that fits with both present and future products, and they give emotional sense of belonging and attitude, because if we got that emotional sense of belonging, usually that's the brands that are the strongest. For us, one sentence captured it all. No dream is too big. No dream is too big. But who's going to say something like that? If I say it, is it very credible? Don't think so. We can have a poll afterwards in the web app, maybe. No, we needed somebody who could actually build that bridge between the people that we were now targeting and the world that we presented today. So who was it going to be? Well, being in horse betting, a spokeshorse is, of course, quite obvious once you start to think of it, isn't it? But who can say that no dream is too big? Well, it's got to be a very small horse, but with very big dreams. So Vinnie was born, and we invited the whole nation to the birth of an icon.
Has she foaled yet?
Yep, but I think there's something wrong with it. We'll see if he makes it.
Well, I did survive, and my mother taught me quite a lot about life.
Any horse can accomplish great things, Vinnie.
Mom!
Then she disappeared.
Mummy! My mum!
Stop watching the telly. Get out and work.
Dad took it really hard. He lost faith and quit his job. So it was up to me to take care of things at home. Dad, stop watching these shows. They're depressing. Mummy. That day, I decided to become the world's greatest trotting horse.
Why are you going to the city?
Yeah, there's only drugs and fighting and stuff.
But nothing could stop me. Oh well, I'll never forget what Mum said. Vinnie, no dream is too big.
Right. That's not the way people were used to being approached by a gambling company. We went all over the press, of course, in magazines like Campaign, etc., but also in financial magazines. ATG goes for a mini horse, wants to turn over the trend. in blogs and shows and everything. What we also did was that from this episode we took 10 sequences and built a story around that and published that on YouTube and Facebook. And Vinnie's got his own Facebook page called Vinnie the Dreamer, where he interacts with people. And we were the fastest growing, fastest to ever reach 1 million Swedish views, which is quite interesting because it was right after Zlatan Ibrahimovic for Volvo did the same thing. We actually beat him. So in very short time, more than 2 million people had actively engaged with Vinnie somehow on the internet. And just to give a perspective on that, we are 9.5 million people in Sweden. So a star was born, our spokeshorse was famous. And what did that mean for us as a commercial company? Well, if you ask people, is advertising worth paying attention to? The general opinion is no. It doesn't mean that it cannot work anyway, but usually it's no. For us, it grew by 39% in a month, which is 625,000 new people, which is a good start for us. People interacted in all kinds of ways. There was everything from, I love Vinnie more than my own daughter, which is not anything we recommend, by the way, to it's official, I need help. I almost started crying to the new ad from ATG, little Vinnie. No dream is too big. You actually think that I wrote them myself, but I didn't. So Vinnie's dreams went on, and his popularity grew. Let's have a look.
I came to the city with a dream of becoming a trotting horse.
Come on, giddy up.
But it was harder than I thought.
Get off the horse, it's not gonna work. It's obviously super tiny.
So I had to try out some other jobs. I thought I'd trot some jokes out.
Let's not back to your farm, country bumpkin.
Nothing seemed to work, but at least I had a roof over my head.
Hey, listen, this shed is for bicycles only.
Sorry.
Don't you have a place to stay? If you do the dishes, you can stay at my place.
I found my first friend and my first job.
This is my place, Video God.
It had nothing to do with trotting, but the dream was still alive.
Where do you come from? You have such a funny accent.
This one actually led to a lot of trouble. I don't know how many times the phone called and people said, "What are you doing with that horse? It's raining on it." Anyway, I found out that people cannot distinguish between reality and fiction, and maybe that's good for us. Anyway, his popularity grew, and so did our brand strength. Quite interesting, I think, is, for instance, if ATG presented a new type of product, would I be curious? Yes, and a clear rise in that. More people would be willing to spend more money on products from us, which is exactly the kind of relation that we wanted while we were innovating new products and services. So our strategy is really to invite more people, tell our story through Vinnie, but also take the next step, say, okay, this is a horse betting company where all the money goes back to the sports. But why are horses any good? And we'll have a look at that in a moment. And once they realize that, then start to introduce new products and services. So why horses then? Well, Vinnie started a movement called Like Horse. And he started that at this very same time as there was a general election in Sweden. So Vinnie published his manifesto at the same day as the political party did. Horses make Sweden a better country. They contribute to greater gender equality. They put thousands of people to work. It makes us feel better, both physically and mentally. read our full manifesto at likehorse.se. There was every morning we would meet, try to figure out what's on the political agenda today. And one day was the big debate between the two prime minister candidates. And one of them said, "You have a sketch on a napkin planning towards 2015, and that just won't do." So with that, we of course did our napkin sketch. And so we did whatever it was healthcare or immigrants or whatever it was, we had our own view on that. And on the final weekend of the election, in the news show in the morning, there was a several-minute-long interview with Vinnie, and it took quite some time. So we were now an established movement in the middle of a general election. I know it sounds hard to believe, but it's actually true. Of course, again, there were press clips all over. And people doing interviews. You can see one of the three, there are actually 3 horses in real life. And you can see Anna who's taking care of the horses. So I have a stable star and 3 horses in the marketing department. So press clippings all over. And we earned a reach in 2 months of almost 8.5 million people. We're 9.5 million in Sweden. And to this day, it's 33 million. Actually, I just read that we got almost 4 million this month as well. So we're now up to 37 million. If you then add all the activities and reach earned by Vinnie as well, you can double that figure, which means that every Swede will have engaged in Vinnie at least 8 times. So it's all very fine, but what if we created an icon that's beyond our own reach and that we can't commercialize him and use him for commercial purposes? Well, it was day for the final exam. If I had some more time, I'd love to talk to you about the gaming service called Together. But for now, I'll just show the TVC.
Computer games and fast food had made me decadent. I decided to get a gym membership.
How much do you bet?
With wilting self-esteem, I was just about to throw in the towel. But then came Ravi. And wow, did we give it all! We helped each other, and our motivation grew stronger and stronger.
Try horse betting together with others. Join a team at together.atg.se.
Wanna take a shower?
No, I think I'll hit the sauna.
Right, so how did they go? Do you think that people now turn their back against Vinnie? Let me see, how many think? No? Do you think it mattered? So he'd have the same popularity? Or do you think he grew even more popular? The fact is that that film reached over 8.5 million people on the Facebook alone, not counting YouTube. Eventually, and lots of shares and people commenting and posting comments and involving their friends and so on. But eventually it spread outside Sweden as well. So the people like Per, who was here this morning, called us and said, you know, you have to withdraw that from the internet because you are now getting, you're not paying for the musical rights outside Sweden. So you cannot see this on the internet anymore. We had to stop at 8.5 million people. But of course, that was a story in itself, which again, then reached a lot of new engagement. All right, so what we try to do every time we make a new episode for commercial TV, we always release a longer version on YouTube, and then we release 6, 7 episodes from that episode for pure entertainment, for people to enjoy, to watch, spread, comment, engage in, and so on. So by the end of last year, when I don't know if you have a YouTube award in your countries as well, but we do in Sweden. They reward the commercial company that has most success on YouTube, and we won that by far. And I think it's it's something I really want to recommend. If you do something that's motion picture, whatever it's for TV or for Facebook, whatever it is, make sure you do a lot of versions. Make sure it's interesting enough for people to want to watch and to share. And you'll be amazed how much time people seem to have. Okay, so we could use him for commercial success. We tried to introduce him to our biggest race, which is Elitloppet. It's not Prix d'Amérique, but it's the biggest race we have. And we had the drivers interviewing on TV and speculating in whether Vinnie would actually be a part of the race this year, or whether he would start next year, whether he would gain any special benefits if he starts, and so on. And here's the answer. Sorry.
Good God, I'm fast.
His place at the front, Vinnie is now leaving his competitors behind at the beginning of the home stretch. We're witnessing history, ladies and gentlemen. Pinch my arm, this should not be possible. He was a laughing stock before the race, and now he practically destroys his competitors. Vinnie the Dreamer wins the Elitloppet race 2015. Unbelievable!
Vinnie, are you sleeping or what?
No, I was just resting.
You won't be a trotter if you're just being lazy.
So through that, we involved the entire horse racing community to spread everything for us as well. So if we look at revenues, what has happened since we introduced Vinnie? Well, in no way are we saying the turnover happened just because of Vinnie. But what we are saying is Vinnie has given us time to innovate, given us time to make a lot of adjustments so that we can turn our business around. And Vinnie as an innovation and as a platform is we use for building relationship with both new and existing customers and reaching far beyond where we could before. He can convey commercial messages, although never hard-selling person, as you've seen. We can use him for CSR purposes, and here he's standing outside the parliament trying to affect our politicians so that we'll have a re-regulation in Sweden when it comes to the rules of betting. So down our future boulevard of innovation, not least thanks to Vinnie, no dream is too big. Thank you.